Well, things got a little rough there, but the Dodgers have bounced back in their last couple. My name is Ryan Bershinger, and today I want to talk about the two new aces at the top of the Dodger rotation. One of them has been fantastic. The other one has a very simple solution to their struggles.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that, Ryan. I'm Monse and I think we are not giving credit where credit is due. And I'm not talking about Shohei Otani.
Wow. And I'm Bo Benson, and I'm going to tell you why today the greatest sports wrong was righted.
This is, yeah, this is the Sick Podcast, the Dodger Zone. Let's get into it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. The Dodger Zone.
At strike three, Dodgers have won it all in 2020.
Fernando Valenzuela has pitched a no-hitter at 10:17 in the evening of June the 29th, 1990. If you have a sombrero, throw it to the sky.
The sickest LA Dodgers podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, I forgot what Bo was talking about there for a second, so I completely forgot to throw to the intro. So just stunned to silence. I'm like, oh yeah, that right, cool. So the Dodgers had a bit of a rough patch. As we talked about last time, this is April baseball for the Dodgers. They win less in April than they do in any month historically, but things have turned around, and one of the reasons things were able to turn around and stop that losing skid there is on Sunday afternoon. You had a great 10-0 victory against the New York Mets, which is just kind of wild to look at, right? Think about a year ago at this time as Dodger fans, guys, where if you were told a year from now, Tyler Glasnow is going to come out and throw 8 shutout innings, Shohei Otani is going to hit a home run, and the Dodgers will win 10-0. You get to sit back and be like, hell yeah, this is this is the life we get to live. This is hopefully a snapshot of what most games will be like for the Dodgers this season. But I want to highlight specifically Tyler Glasnow's performance in that game. I think we can now officially declare Tyler Glasnow an ace. If you look at his first month with the Dodgers, this wasn't even arguably his best game. He had that outing in Minnesota, 7 shutout innings, 14 strikeouts, looked fantastic. And then in this game, why I want to call him an ace specifically after this game is an ace takes the mound knowing that their team is struggling and says, I'm going to stop it. And that's what he did. That game, he comes out, throws 8 shutout innings when he didn't even need to go 8. The Dodgers had a 10-0 lead after 5. And he still went out for another 3 innings, continued to dominate, put his foot on the throats of the Mets and say, we're ending this losing streak right here, right now. I understand he gave up that 3-run home run against the Nationals where he was just about to get out of an inning. But if you throw that out, he's really been fantastic throughout the season. So, Monse, what have been your takeaways from the rotation, specifically from Glasnow to start this season off?
It was just refreshing to see him go so deep in that game because we haven't really seen that from the Dodgers this season. Even last, it was so refreshing to see, and it's a small build-up because he's been consistent. It wasn't like, oh, all of a sudden he had a good game. It's just that was his best game yet of the season. So I was so happy and a little bit like relieved, maybe like a breath of fresh air, but also relief that that's what we saw this weekend, and that obviously we got to win because that homestand was rough. Since 2005, the Dodgers had not lost a 3-series homestand. In 2018, they lost 3 series, but it was 2 separate homestands that were like back to back essentially. So the first time since 2005 with an actual 3-game series, 9 games. You get what I'm saying? Since 2005. And yet, it's not, again, it's April. We don't want to dive too much into it and dissect it as like, this is so bad. But it was rough. It was a rough time. It was so rough. So it was like just refreshing to get out of that with Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah, Tyler Glasnow has always had a ace potential. He's been good for his entire career. It's just the injuries, right? So every time out there, I do feel a little like pain in my heart with each start, but he's been great so far. And yeah, I mean, he was obviously an ace coming into this, but you're exactly right. Like, he came in, he stopped the bleeding. That's what aces do. That's his role on the team at this point, and it's awesome. It's really good. It's refreshing. It's nice to have a guy like that in a rotation that has a lot of question marks.
Mhm.
Even as someone that didn't think it had that many question marks coming in, there's a lot of question marks in this rotation right now.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, there are. And I mean, part of that, of course, is losing Bobby Miller to an injury, and hopefully it's not going to be that long, but we honestly have no idea.
Yeah, well, have you ever listened to the Dodgers doctors before?
Right.
Yeah, Bobby Miller's dead.
Stop.
He's decomposing in the clubhouse right now.
Yeah. And unfortunately, Bruce Gratterall might be joining him, which is awesome.
He's super dead. He's been dead since last year. They were Weekend at Bernie's. They were doing that with him all year last year.
Gratterall, the latest was that he's been shut down from throwing because his shoulder is still barking at him, which is just, we love that.
That's great.
He came into spring training and he had a hip injury, and then he tried to over adjust by pitching through the hip injury, which then hurt his shoulder, which is way more important. Well, than his hip. I get us as normal people probably take the hip over the shoulder, but I need Bruce Starr's shoulder a little more.
The good news is that the Dodger bullpen is full of young, spry gentlemen, and nothing like that is going to happen to any of them. So,
are we looking at the same roster? What do we? I know you're kidding. I get it. Well, Blake Trinan, last I read 3-4 more rehab outings, and they're getting closer for him to actually, have a first rehab game. So we might get him back. I'm not, and it's going to be a question mark too, because how is he going to start? But definitely question marks in the pitching rotation for sure.
Well, as I mentioned, the other ace at the top of the rotation that we added in the offseason is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Now, I want to pull up something specifically about his stats, because if you look at the last couple starts, there were moments where Yamamoto has gotten hit hard a couple times, but he also had back-to-back 5-inning scoreless outings that we shouldn't forget about. If you look at just his surface level ERA, his ERA is like 4 something, but let's remember that includes the 1 inning a month ago in Korea where his ERA was 45 at the end of it. And that's not a joke. That was his ERA for the first inning of his career. But if you're looking at, if you throw that inning out, and thank you to Matt Byrne on Twitter for putting these stats out there. If you throw that inning out, his ERA goes down to 2.57. So he's at 2.5 without that one random stupid inning. His 32.3% K rate is the 8th best in baseball. His 12.3 K per 9 is the 4th best in baseball. He's got a 26.9% K to walk rate. That's 5th in baseball. A 307 FIP compared to his 4.5 ERA. Which all of this to say is that his numbers on the surface are inflated because of that one random inning. Overall, he's actually been pretty damn good. And there is one simple solution, and a couple of writers have pointed this out. If you look at his sort of heat chart on Baseball Savant, you look at his fastball location, there's a big red dot right in the middle of the strike zone. And what that means is he's throwing the fastball right down the middle a lot. And in Major League Baseball, throwing a fastball right down the middle at 95 miles an hour is a bad strategy. That is, in essence, batting practice. So all Yamamoto really needs to do is just adjust that fastball location, because his fastball is still very good. It's just being placed in a spot that's incredibly hittable. His other pitches, his curveball and his splitter have been dominant. His breaking stuff is fantastic. And when he uses that, people are not hitting it. The expected batting average is around 200, even less on a couple of his other pitches. He's getting an insanely high whiff rate on all of these pitches. So I'm not concerned about Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I really believe like this is just a very simple growing pain that he's going through, which is, hey, don't throw the fastball down the middle, Yoshi. Just a little bit off, a little bit lower. You get some downward movement, and you're gonna be great. Now, yeah, Monse, do you agree with my assessment?
So
There's a lot of numbers and percentages in there, and geez.
Stop being logical here,
you
Ryan.
all can wake up now. The stats are done. It's okay.
God.
I agree with what you are saying, that he hasn't been bad. I agree with you. But I'm sorry, if you're going to come into Major League Baseball and be paid how much money, I need you to be better from the start. How do you not know to not throw a fastball down the middle? How do you not know that? So is that his fault, or is this Dave Roberts' fault? Whose fault is this? I like him, and I think he's going to be great. I'm sorry, but the expectation, you needed to live up to it. Like, I know that's not fair, but life isn't fair. He should be living up to the expectation, and he's not. He's not. And he's fine. I agree with that. He's being critiqued that he's terrible. He's not terrible, but you're not living up to what I expected, what many fans expected based on the contract you got. Is that the Dodgers' fault as an organization for giving this contract to a player who had never played in Major League Baseball? I don't know, but it's like, I'm sorry, you are not living up to your expectation, and that's what it is.
I think it's Austin Barnes' fault. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
So we got that. We checked that off. I think age-wise, he's similar to someone that would be like in AAA right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they immediately threw him in as a day 2 MLB starter. I just think it's growing pains. But that is something like the coaching staff and the catchers have to work with him to identify. But it's super like, yeah, you watch him pitch and you know he's great. It's just like 1 or 2 pitches get left over the middle, and then it gets parked in the seats, and everybody looks mad. But he'll be fine. They didn't sign him just for this 1 year. They gave him money for the next 2, 3, 4 years when he adjusts to Major League Baseball and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's 25.
Yeah, he would be in AAA.
Right. Yeah, he would be in AAA. Yeah.
I went and looked back on the first month of a couple notable Japanese pitchers in their first seasons. Daisuke Matsutaka came over when he was 26. In his first month, he was dominant in his very first start, but by the end of his first 6 starts in Boston, his ERA was around 5.5. Like he got shelled a bit in his first month. Masahiro Tanaka, who's probably a closer example, because he was 25 when he came over, and he was a little more hyped up than Daisuke, I would say. He was very strong in his first month. His first season overall, he was pretty excellent with the Yankees, and his ERA was hovering a little over 2 after his first month in the in the majors. So there's both sides of it when looking at sort of historical precedent. But I think, again, his traditional numbers are inflated because of that really bad outing. But otherwise, you do have his first 2 starts domestically. It was scoreless both times, and he went 5. And again, that Chicago start, because of the rain delay, he came out after 5. He could have kept going. Yeah. So I think we've seen a lot of really good stuff from him. And as Beau said, I think that especially the money, I think that's what jumps out mostly to people. Is you look at him, 12 years, $325 million, you're assuming you're getting Garrett Cole. And maybe we are in a few years, but there's just no way that right off the bat that's what he is. And he doesn't have the same velocity, but his breaking stuff is that good. His breaking stuff is incredibly good. And so I'm very optimistic because, again, I think that the fix is very simple.
Yeah. I wanted Tanaka so bad, dude.
Yeah. Oh,
God. Yeah. Didn't Dodger fans kind of run him off back to Japan too? The way they treated Darvish after the World Series.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
God.
Yeah. Because he, I think he retired, or at least he left after 2020.
Yeah.
And he was like, because of the way everything kind of changed. Like, you know what?
I think it was probably that and COVID and everything. Good stuff. Memory lane.
So Monse, you mentioned that there's a player who you think needs to get more respect, and tell us why it is Michael Grove. Please.
Facts. Thank you for saying it.
I mean, I want to make that
Brave.
point, but
Brave.
I want Monse to make her point first. I will talk about Michael Grove later because
that's a threat. That's a threat to some people.
I know. I feel so weird feeling so good about Michael Grove right now, but like he's anyway. Monse, please, please go ahead.
I wouldn't even say that it's respect. I just think that maybe we are not appreciating it the way we should be, because the Dodgers are full of stars. The Dodgers are full of storylines left and right. But obviously the big topic tends to be right now it's Otani, right? And then if not Yamamoto, like the topic I feel like should be actually Mookie Betts and what he has done so far this season. Just offensively, if you just go look up the stats, you see his name all over the place. He's in the top of everything offensively. And then the fact that he got moved to the infield and has had one or two errors here and there that you see, like, we are not giving him the credit that he should be getting. He has more scored runs than any Dodger player in his first 500 games. So he already surpassed Jackie Robinson. Maybe he's at 496 now, 497 games, but 407 already runs. Jackie Robinson, 388. Like, what he is doing is literally historic before our eyes, and nobody's really giving him attention for it. And I'm like, how is he not the topic on every baseball show right now? How is it not Mookie Betts? It's always somebody else. And if it's a Dodger, it's probably Shohei Otani. And I just don't get it. And I think we are just not appreciating him. What is that expression? Appreciated in his own time. What is it when you don't appreciate something until it's like way past it?
Yeah,
I feel like that's
what you got till it's gone.
You don't know what you got till it's gone. And I feel like that's what's going to happen. Like, we're going to look back and be like, man, we really didn't give a lot of attention and credit to what Mookie was doing, at the start of the 2024 season. We were looking at other storylines, and I hate it. Like, I feel like he should be getting a lot more love and appreciation.
Yeah, no, I agree, because I think part of it is because he came out so hot in the first week and a half, and then he really cooled off for a few games after that. And so people kind of backed off and were like, all right, well, he's not hitting 600 anymore, so we can calm down. But I think coupled with the fact it's really like people are really overlooking just how little he has played shortstop in his career. Like this is a completely new position.
Yeah.
He came into the season adjusting just to second base. And then because of emergency matters, he was like, well, I could play short. They're like, all right, cool, go ahead.
Yeah.
And he's talked about too that the extra energy he's gotten from having to learn this new position on the fly is helping him be more focused in, and that has carried over to his production at the plate. So yeah, I will always just cape for Mookie. I'm sorry. I know some people don't like that, but he's great, and that is what it is.
He's third in hits. He's third, fourth in batting average. Shohei is the first one, and it's like,
yeah.
We could literally do a whole episode on just what Mookie Betts has done.
I never seen Mookie Betts hit a ball 118 miles an hour and park it in the second row.
Okay.
Like Shohei did last night.
Yeah,
I've never seen Shohei sail a throw from across the diamond because he wants to be a show off at shortstop. I don't know. Mookie's fine, but
that is
Otani's that home run last night was jaw dropping.
Yeah,
just ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's just not. To me, there's no comparison between the two. Like, this is Otani's team already. Like, it just is.
That is crazy to say.
He's if he continues to hit the ball at the pace that he's hitting, even slightly less, he's going to win the MVP as a DH. Like, you can lock that in right now.
How dare you say that it's already his team when we've played 25 games, when Mookie has been there for years? How could you say? I'm not saying that in like in 5 years, whatever, it's not Shohei's team. But how can you say that right now?
Well, because like when this team was under Mookie's stewardship, they've done nothing but flame out in the playoffs.
Okay, so
Except
all right,
was-
so then
Except to win a World Series in 2020.
No.
Yes, he
No.
was-
That was Corey Seager's team.
Oh,
Show some respect.
okay.
Show some respect.
ah.
Um,
And that right there, see, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Not giving credit where credit is
Respect the
No.
homegrown greats.
what I will say is that I think if you're looking at pure value because of what Mookie has done defensively and his versatility, yes, sure, he hasn't been flawless at shortstop, but again, he's also like not a shortstop.
No.
So I think he's also playing the position as well as anyone who is constantly transitioning positions could. And I mean, granted, the overall theme, I personally, I think Miguel Rojas should be the everyday shortstop at this point and just put Mookie back to second, even though Gavin's bat is coming back around.
Hey, yeah.
I don't want to completely kill Gavin Lux like we
He's
did
back
last
tonight.
time. Yeah, he is starting to hit, which is a great sign. But it is, I think, to your point, Monse, I think another reason why Mookie's not getting that level of attention is because Otani is proving right now that he's the best hitter in baseball, which is just insane. And it is like the amount of raw power that this guy has, and the fact that he's still got one, if not, I think, yeah, the highest average in the NL right now.
It's in baseball.
Yeah, it's incredible. Baseball. Yeah. And it was just because he had that weird, like 2 for 20 stretch with runners in scoring position. But outside of that, like he's also, gotten hits with runners in scoring position since then. So he's like, it's Otani's just incredible. Like, and it's so like we're, this is, again, we're blessed people.
Yeah, you can't.
We're blessed people. I'm not saying that Otani is not the shit, because he is. Last year, I was saying that we weren't appreciating Otani when we were watching this dude pitch and hit. I was like, we're not giving this guy credit. He's the greatest hitter, right, in baseball, okay. But Mookie is doing more than just hitting. And like that's where I'm like, how are we not appreciating this? That's my point. And he's the best hitter. Okay, what else is he doing? Nah, because he can't, because he's injured. I understand that. But Mookie is doing a bunch of other stuff.
I would like to take a moment to point out that over the past couple of weeks, both the guys that I've declared busts or said they should have been traded, tongue in cheek, have kind of broken out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we should pick a guy. Actually, you know what? I know he's pitching well at the moment, but Ryan Brazier, however you say his name, Brazier, yeah, whatever. He sucks. Get this guy out of here. Get rid of him. Get rid of him, please. No more.
Yes.
So expect a quick turnaround.
To revisit my point of a player who should be getting more respect, Michael Grove actually should be getting more respect. and it feels so weird because I've never really thought that highly of Grove. I've always to me, he's Mitch White again. Like that's kind of like it's really all it's been. But he's now at 9 1/3 straight scoreless innings, unless he pitches, between the time we record this and the time the podcast comes out. And the Dodgers are doing that thing again, where they find that a pitcher can throw one pitch actually pretty damn well, and they say, hey, just throw that a lot. And so that's what they're doing. Michael Grove's slider usage has shot up. He's throwing his slider like 55% of the time, which is almost twice the amount that he's ever thrown his slider at any point in his past couple of years. And so his fastball usage is going down, his breaking stuff is going up, and his slider is incredibly effective. He's striking out people like 30-something% of the time on his slider. And his swing and miss stuff right now is very high. He's up in the 90 percentiles with just his swing and miss stuff. He's actually looked pretty damn good. And I'm not I'm not going to sit here. I did this with Evan Phillips. I want to pat myself on the back with this one. I did this with Evan Phillips because I was like, hey, they're making Evan Phillips throw a slider like crazy and it's working really well. This guy should be in high leverage situations and he should probably be an all-star. The Dodgers did this with Blake Trinan. They revived his career by saying, you just throw this slider and you'll be great. I don't want to go as far as to say like Michael Grove is going to become a dominant back end of the bullpen reliever, but right now he's one of the best arms in the pen, and I think he should be getting some more respect because of that.
Preach.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I mean, obviously the stuff with pitching, it's like they're figuring things out. But the good thing is like there are signs, right? Like moments where like Tyler Glasnow, Yamamoto, Michael Grove, Evan Phillips, like we're gonna end up by, let's say June, July, with I think a good set rotation. It's just right now they're figuring it out with injuries and all that. You know what I'm saying? But I agree. There have been some great moments with him and with Phillips. Does he have the most saves? Evan Phillips?
I
don't know. I don't know how many save situations they've really been in so far this year.
Let me see.
He was.
He's 9. He's 9.
Okay.
He's in the
shaky
top 10.
last night, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Got out of it.
He's got 6 saves. Yes, and that's top 9.
Which brings up an interesting point. I did see that did John Heyman mention that the Dodgers could still conceivably bring back Kenley Jansen.
I mean, they should, but I got to be honest with you. Once Otani and Yamamoto signed, I immediately unfollowed John Heyman, so I have no idea what he said.
Yeah, I got it. I
will never stop following Bob Nightingale. Zero chance.
Not.
Never.
No.
He's the best.
No. It's like following drill. Like you.
Yeah.
But anyway, I haven't checked recently in terms of Kenley's status and what's going on there. But I had said in the offseason, my only concern with if the Dodgers were to bring back Kenley Jansen at some point is that like Dave Roberts would just like instantly revert to like closer. You're my closer. You pitch 9th inning. No one else pitches 9th inning, and you only pitch 9th inning. Which they're kind of doing with Phillips. That's the point here is that like if Phillips is their best reliever, and yes, there is some aspects of conventional wisdom that say use your best reliever as your closer, but also you really should be using your best reliever in the spots that are most important to use them, which is not always the 9th inning. But so like using Phillips specifically in this closer role, I think is a bit limiting his ability, especially when the rest of the bullpen is having their struggles when like Joe Kelly and Ryan Brazier are, reverting a little bit. Brazier like not being good this season was like sadly an incredibly predictable thing because like he was really bad with the Red Sox last year. The Dodgers pick him up off the scrap heap and then he was fantastic. And now he's just kind of okay. It'd be good to see that second half Brazier come back, but it's hard to really like feel great about that coming back. The same with Daniel Hudson. We've seen times where Hudson has really looked really good, and then times where it's like, oh yeah, you are an older pitcher and you do like break your legs every couple months, but it's
he's Mr. Glass from Unbreakable or whatever. I mean, this kind of betrays our format, but Pothead's launch angle is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's really nice to see Andy Pages like show legitimate pop.
Yeah, he just needs to stay up.
Yeah.
I don't like when Heyward comes back, he can be a bench player, but there's no reason to send Pages back down.
This is my question. My question is though, honestly, do you guys think we'll ever see Jason Heyward again? Like this,
He could also be dead. He could also be dead. Yeah.
This honestly feels like a situation where a player might just never come back from an injury,
I mean,
regardless
they
of how
would-
severe it is.
Yeah, it would just kind of be like put him on the 60-day and then make him a player coach, kind of.
And like Jason, hey, the guys love Jason Heyward on all accounts.
Yeah,
incredibly.
I never had an issue with that signing and bringing him back. People forget how important it is to have clubhouse guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Heyward is a big. Did Mookie do it? Oh no, just off the wall. Damn, we're live streaming this game, folks. Yeah, no, I had no issue with Heyward, the signing, bringing him back, and they did get good value out of him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think this does kind of feel like a classic Dodgers medical mystery where they just can't figure out what's wrong with him, and he has to spend the entire year on the disabled list or the injured list.
Remember Franklin Gutierrez? This is like the random Dodgers situation I kind of always think of in situations like this. Franklin Gutierrez was originally drafted by the Dodgers, and then he was traded to Cleveland, at the time called the Indians, and then he bounced around the league for a bit, and then he came back to the Dodgers towards the end of his career. He's going to be like a platoon outfielder, and you're like, oh, good, this is a solid right-handed bat who can hit lefties well. Like, he's, this might help. And then he played like 3 games, and then he like hurt his leg or something, and then he was literally never seen again. Like that was the end of his career. And that's so, like, situations like this always remind me of like this is Franklin Gutierrez again.
Who was that guy in spring training a couple of years ago that tore it up, but they didn't put him on the roster and he went to the Phillies? Who was that guy?
Oh, that's gonna bug me.
I know it's gonna. You're gonna wake up at 3 a.m. with the name,
and we're gonna
remember. Anyway, I do want to. Beau, you mentioned in the intro that today was a very important day to you.
Not just to me, but the city of Los Angeles.
Than others.
Yes.
The city of Los Angeles in general.
Mm-hmm.
The best news one could wake up to, the news that Reggie Bush was getting his goddamn Heisman back after almost 20 years of having it unjustly taken away from him. I'm so happy for him. Legitimately, you guys know I'm about to graduate from USC.
Yes.
So for him to get his Heisman back and for USC to be back atop the most Heismans of all time, that includes, another great running back who we're not going to mention. Very happy for Reggie Bush. And I think this kind of goes along with, he got punished for something that is legal now.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll see what happens with some gambling punishments that get handed down here in the near future, and how the future looks upon those. Because, now that we're fully through the looking glass, we're going to see a player get in trouble for gambling in baseball and actually have done it, but it's going to become a whole hot topic, and like laws are going to be different. Like someone in California is going to get busted for it. Yeah. And then California is going to legalize gambling, and we're going to do this whole thing. So remember, guys, if rules are stupid, don't follow them.
Well,
that's my main point.
Not the advice. No.
Yes.
Not the advice.
Yes.
But I agree. I am happy for Reggie Bush also because he had wanted it back. He had like said that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if he didn't care and it was never like something that he vocally said he would want back, then he probably would have been like, screw it, I don't need it. But he wanted it back, and he 100% deserved it back. It took too long.
Yeah. It's so an agent that he didn't even know bought his family a house to try and get him to sign with him. So they took his Heisman away and killed USC. But meanwhile, Cam Newton probably got $1 million to play at Auburn, and nobody bats an eye. Like it's such a dinosaur system. So I'm just happy for Reggie.
Good on you, Reggie. I've been spending this time trying to figure out who that player was.
I know, and it's bad.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to Google it. I mean, you're not talking. You're not talking about Jason Worth, right? We're not going that far.
No.
Yeah.
He was like a white guy.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that narrows it down.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay.
Oh, now I know.
Yeah, yes.
Oh man, remember Eddie Alvarez?
Yeah, I was so stoked, dude.
Yeah.
He has both summer and Olympic winter medals. Like that's
Who was that
that's
one
great.
guy? Who was that guy that? Oh, Edwin Rios.
Yeah,
Rest in peace.
I know. He was God. I he like the DH came just barely too late for Edwin
I know.
Rios. Like
know.
if we had the DH in 2019, Edwin Rios would have had a very nice career.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, this name is gonna bug me.
Well,
Because he was good in spring training, and everybody was like, "This guy's got to make the roster. He's got to make the roster," and he didn't. Yeah, it's gonna drive us crazy.
well, if you are at home, or you're in your car, or at the gym, or wherever you are consuming this wonderful program, please let us know in the comments who we're forgetting.
Please.
Please, and you can be wrong too. Just leave a comment with a random name. You know, we always as sports fans, we always default to that tweet of, you know, dudes will just be hanging around naming random athletes and have the best time.
1,000,000%.
But so please tell us who we're forgetting, because I don't have the time to just to dig into each and every spring training roster of the last couple seasons.
It's bad. It's bad.
So until next week, we'll see if, you know, if maybe they'll just take the Heisman back. And they'll be like, actually, you know what, we changed our mind.
Changed our mind. Okay.
Which is fine, you know. Again, this podcast, like, we're bound to just have things be instantly old news. Like, you know, I don't know, there's an inning left in this game, so maybe Michael Grove comes out and tosses, you know, just throws the ball underhand and then suddenly gives up 8 runs, and now we're there goes Ryan's point. What an idiot. This is the Sick Podcast, the Dodger Zone. Please like us, subscribe on YouTube. When I say like us, I mean just in general. Just like us. just like it. We just want your great morale and your support. Follow us on Twitter at SickPodDodgers. Follow the podcast on wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, like and subscribe our YouTube channel, The Sick Podcast, The Dodger Zone. I'm Ryan Bershinger. She's Monse Bolaños. He is Beau Benson. Until next week, we will see you then.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow The Sick Podcast, The Dodger Zone, on YouTube, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.